Hi, I'm Diane Hall with AARP Missouri, and I'd like to welcome you to Functional Movement. This is our final class of our 8-week series of functional movement that was designed and is led by Tyler Ferguson. And Tyler has really put the fun in functional movement. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Be thinking about what you liked and might want to be different, because an evaluation will be coming your way. And we want to design our next offering to be even more relevant to you. Functional movement is designed to both build strength and flexibility, to carry out everyday tasks, and to let you improve your fitness level regardless of where you're starting. Now, speaking of fitness, you can find many of our previous fitness classes on Missouri's YouTube channel at youtube.com/AARPMO. Now, this class is suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know your own limitations. Please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. And if you have any concerns, always check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offerings. AARP Missouri also offers other live fitness classes. Currently, we have our Forever class that will be continuing through June 2nd on Thursdays at 9 a.m. If you can't make that class, we have links to past programs like Zumba Light or Yoga with Tyler that you can participate in from the recordings. You can find those links to current, past, and upcoming programs at aarp.org/movingit. All of our programming is created with people age 50 plus in mind. It's good for anyone of any age, anywhere. AARP hopes that our fitness classes, like functional movement, will be great options for anyone who may not be able to or who may be a little hesitant to attend a traditional fitness class, like a caregiver, or people who may have a health concern, or just for the convenience of working out at home. In addition to our online fitness classes, AARP also has resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information and technology information on our website at aarp.org/nearyou. Now let's get started with functional movement. Our instructor is Tyler Ferguson. Tyler, bring on the fun.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. If it's your first time or your 8th time or any time in between, so glad to get to share with you this morning. We're going to come to standing, and Mr. Ozzy is a little in the way here. Just going to come to standing with our feet hips distance apart. Lift and spread the toes and place them down on the mat. Just allow yourself to arrive into your feet. So think about, as you spread your toe, stretching out the skin on the bottom of your feet and getting as much contact with the earth as you can. And then pause there and find a little alignment. Maybe slightly bring the legs in together, bringing some activation to the tissues up into the legs, slightly draw the glutes in, maybe draw the navel toward the spine. Take an inhale in here. Fill up and then exhale. Release and let it go. 2 more times. Inhale, nose. You can close your eyes here. Exhale, mouth. Then let it go. Final 3rd time. Inhale, nose. Pursing lips together. Exhale through the mouth. Good. We're exhaling through the mouth here because the heart rate is going to elevate a little bit in some of these exercises. They get a little bit more cardio, so you want to exhale through the mouth as the heart rate elevates. Now, let's go down to the toes. Lift all 10 toes up off the mat. Spread them out nice and wide. I'm going to use my fingers to match what my toes are doing so you can see. And then squeeze the toes together, but they're lifted. Spread them wide again. Squeeze them together. Send the toes forward and place them down on the mat. Good. One more time. Lift and spread the toes. Squeeze the toes together. Spread them wide again. Bring the toes together. Send them forward. That just means stretch them long and place them down on the mat. Good job. Toe heel. Oh, I'm sorry. And then start to lift your one heel. And then finding just the articulation of the foot. So finding the fold of the foot there. And move at a speed that makes sense for you. So you don't have to match my speed. You can go faster or slower. And just see that the knee is tracking right over the toes. Notice how this feels in your body. And then pause with your heel lifted, the knee forward, and feel that your big toe and piggy toe mound are down on the ground, and start to make some windshield wiper movements. As you make your windshield wiper movements, the big toe mound or the piggy toe mound might peel up, but you're going to put it back down on the floor. And finish, lower down to the ground. Same thing on the other side. So you're just starting with finding the articulation in the foot. Maybe spread the toes, feel big toe and piggy toe mound down, lifting the heel as high as it wants to go. And then putting as much pressure down to lift the heel as makes sense for you. Keep the heel lifted. And then windshield wiper the knee back and forth. And you'll see, or you'll kind of roll to the inside edge and outside edge of the foot, at the bottom of the foot, as you do that. Good. And final time. Bring your heel down. Bring your feet in, nice and together. Try to zip everything up in here. Sit back like you're going to sit in a chair. Hands go right on your thighs. And then you're going to just make some draw some circles. Draw some circulars. So if I had a plumb line hanging down from my knees, trying to kind of draw a circle around my feet. So the circle goes around my toes, and I'm trying to bring that circle back around my ankles, and then take your circle the other direction. And for the most part, the bottoms of the feet remain on the floor. So you're shifting weight side to side, but the feet are remaining planted. Good. Stand up nice and tall here. Separate the feet. Hands go on hips. I'm going to drop my left glute, my left hips, or the left side of my hips back. I'm not going straight back. I'm going about 45 degrees. So they're the back corner of the room, not directly to the side, not straight back. And then stand up tall. Send the fronts of your hips forward. Turn on your glutes without arching your back. So just send it forward, but stay nice and long in the spine, and then send your hips in the other direction. So part of the squats that we're going to do in today's workout are about standing up tall. So we want to make sure, stand up tall. We want to make sure that during our squats, we end our squat with standing tall. And then hopefully that's going to translate every time you get up out of the chair or get up from a seated position. And remember, standing tall, hips are forward, but you're not arching in your back. All right, let's move into the shoulders. Shrugging shoulders up into ears, down. And take your circles in the other direction. And then inhale the arms up to the sides. Exhale the arms down. Lift and spread the toes, place them down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down. Now you can stay right here, or if your shoulders are healthy, you can reach all the way up overhead. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale it up. Keep the arm, don't come to your knees. Keep your hands up in the air, and then rotate the backs of the hands forward, and then rotate the palms down. 2 more times. Inhale up. Rotate the backs of the hands forward and feel your shoulders plug down, and then rotate palms down. Final time. Inhale it up. Back of the hands come forward, and then rotate your palms down to the earth. Hands now come up behind the head gently, fingertips back behind the head, little bit of pressure, but don't take your ears out of alignment. We don't want the chin to come to the neck. Stay nice and tall. And then just dropping down, my right elbow is moving down to the earth. And as my right elbow moves down to the earth, the left elbow points up to the sky. Each time you initiate this movement, think about creating length between the bottom of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis. So lift and lengthen, come over to the side and back up, staying on the same side, just moving your spine laterally. Final time, come back up to center, bring your hands together, shoot the arms forward. Feel how the arms, this is a reaching motion. And when that happens, your shoulder blades separate from one another. And then open up your arms. So chest expansion, we're going to broaden across the pecs a little bit here, but I'm going to change this one up a little bit. Now I want you to reach forward. This time we won't combine the hands, just reach forward and then pull the elbows in. Shoulder blades come together. Reach, shoulder blades move apart, or scapula move apart. Pull, scapula come together. A few more times. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. Final time. Reach and pull. Hands come back up over or behind the head. We're going to start doing our lateral spinal work to the opposite side. So as the elbow reaches down to the earth, I'm going to keep moving in this exercise. I'm going to move forward, look at my chats real quick. Keep moving down to the earth, opposite elbow up. Good. Remember, move at a speed that makes sense for you. If you want to take this a little bit slower, feel it all the way down, go right ahead and do that. And final time. Left elbow down, right elbow up, and back to center. Bring your hands down to your thighs. You're going to sit back like we're going to sit in a chair, and then you're going to just tuck and release your tail. So think about the points of your hips being like little headlights, and the headlights are going to shine down, and then they're going to shine up. They're going to shine down, and then up. So you're just tilting your pelvis. It's called an anterior and a posterior tilt. And then now, place your hands back on your thighs, round in your upper back, and tuck your pelvis. So this is like a standing cat pose. And then pull your chest, your ribs forward, elbows pulled back. Now you've got kind of a sway in your back. So this is cow pose, standing cow. So press around to cat, eye gaze down to the mat now. Pull your chest into cow. Press the arms away, straighten them out as you move into cat. Bend the elbows a little bit as you pull your heart forward into cow. You can look up during cow, look down during cat. Final time, looking up during cow. And then press up to full standing. So feel that. You're not locking out the knees to full stand, but you are turning on the glutes and pressing the hips forward. But notice the shoulders and the crown of the head, they just reach up to the sky, not back to the back of the room. All right, hopefully you guys are feeling nice and warmed up. We'll begin our routine. So sit back into a little squat again. This time, reaching and pulling in our little squat, and then give me little pulses. So little squat, little reaches and pulls. And as you're doing these pulses, feel the weight in the heels. So your toes are nice and light. We want to keep the weight in the heels. We want to keep the exercise, and the muscles on the backside are the awareness and the backside of our body. Good. 2 and 1. Stand up tall. Inhale, sit back down. Now, bring attention to your elbows. You want the elbows to pull back and toward one another. So when you squat, elbows back, so you're using your upper body, and then stand tall, drive the knuckles down, shoulders drive down away from the ears. Squat, elbows pull back, so feel strong in your back. Stand tall. Maybe inhale here, exhale here. So here we are, we're off into our squats. Now, if you need to make some adjustments to make this comfortable for you, you need to widen your feet a little bit or slightly turn out your toes. That feels better. Go ahead and do that. If it's at all possible to keep your toes forward, I'd like for you to fiddle around, play around with that. Now notice each time you squat, does your weight travel to your toes? Are you pressing up off your toes? Hopefully that's not the case. Can you keep the majority of the weight back in your heels? So every time you stand, it's like you're trying to push your heels down through the floor to stand up. Stand up fully at the top. Give yourself to express that full standing at the top. 3 and 2. Last and final 1. moving to wide squat. Now, some of us, we just stay right here. We're just stepping, moving laterally, practicing that. Others, we go into our wide squat and we stay stationary. But it's week number 8. So some of you that have been with me, wide squat and stand. If you want to get a little bit more of an elevated heart rate, elbows back, arms reach up. Wide squat, arms reach up. So you'll notice now that I'm starting to move, I have that exhale coming from the mouth. Maybe you want to play with your balance here. Have a little pause at the top when you work on your balance. Think about using your core, pulling in with the core to have that moment of balance. Remember, you have lots of options for this exercise. If you'd like to take your arms out of it to get the heart rate down, that's fine. 3, we're all going to meet in a balance. 2, wherever you are, meet me in a balance. Now, if you have your chair or your prop or a wall, you can use that for your balance. Otherwise, bring your hands into prayer, kick your front or whatever foot is elevated, right foot out. Just start performing some circles. Spread your toes. If you have a ceiling fan on, it's always fun to spread your toes and feel that little cool air in between each toe. Bring your knee up. You can see what it looks like here. Bring your knee up. Take your arms out wide. Don't scoot around like I'm doing. And then look over your left hand. Woo, big balance challenge. Look back to center. Look over to your right hand and back to center. Right arm or right leg goes down. I'm going to take that to the left. So step to the left. Those are your options. Remember, stationary squat is an option. Moving all through these options works. Or we take the dynamic wide squat option. Now, we cued hands on thighs, elbows back. That doesn't mean you collapse, right? You're not collapsing into your thighs. You're setting yourself up to kind of push off with the hands. But it's this opportunity to bring the elbows back and be long and strong in your back. In your chest is slightly elevated as you move into that squat. So you're not hinging down and looking at the floor, keeping the chest slightly elevated. Now, again, I might be moving a little bit faster than you want to move. I'll slow it down. I get so excited, you guys. Yeah, so we're working on our balance. Remember, just take the arms out of it if the heart rate gets too high. If the movement is too much, stay stationary or just go to your side walks. 3 are side steps. 2, last one, pause. Bring your hands down to prayer. Kick your leg out. Ankle circles. Spread your toes. Circles in the other direction. And what you can't see because I'm wearing black is I'm just simply bending my knee up and in, right? Arms come out wide. Look over to your right side. Look back to center. Look over to your left side. Come back to center. Arms down, foot down. Good job. Let's walk that out. Now, take our right leg, place it behind the left leg. You can hold onto a wall or chair. And you'll notice the tops of my feet are down because I'm just doing a little stretch here. And then notice if I hinge at the hip and bend this knee, there's not a lot of pressure in the floor. But as I straighten it out, I can start to get this nice stretch in the top, the shin of the leg behind me. So it's up to you how much pressure you put in the floor. Keep breathing here. And then undo it. Come back to standing. Now you're going to put your leg behind you, but instead of putting the top of your foot down, you're going to put your toes down. So we're going to find this curtsy lunge. Your weight wants to be more in the front foot. Your back foot is like a kickstand, and we're going to lower down and press up. Now see, as we lower down, just work in a distance, in a range that works for you. See if you can find how the weight is more in the front foot, particularly again, driving through that heel, feeling the connection when the heel drives all the way up, firming that glute up to help you stand up. The back leg is bending, the knee is bending, and the toes are on the ground, but it's following. Your front leg is driving the action of this curtsy. Now you can stay right here with me and play with this, or if you think you've got this connection, kick it out, and then whoops, and return. Curtsy squat and kick. Curtsy squat. And then your hands can be wherever you want them to be. Now notice this kick, I'm touching right on the floor. If you want to play with your balance, you can not touch the floor. Let's go 3. Woo. Pick the level that makes sense for you, my friends. I'm trusting you to choose what's best for you. And 1, come back to center. Other side, left foot comes behind. Now at first, you might need to hold onto a wall to get the top, to trust the top of your foot to go down. Bending front knee, bending in the hip will help you get more surface area of the foot on the ground, and then press through the front leg to get more of a stretch. And then you might have to change it, right? You might have to reach back a little further or a little closer to get the stretch that makes sense to you. I'm definitely not getting as much of a stretch on this side. I didn't set myself up too well. There. And then we'll come out of that stretch and send it right back behind again, but this time the weight is in the front right leg this time. We're gonna lower down and press it up. So as you press up, you might have to adjust your stance a little bit. So here we are, curtsy squats, nice and stationary. We're not doing a lot of movement here. Now find the front, or find the heel in your front leg, drive down, and then try to stand up tall. Squeeze your glute to open up the front of your hip to stand tall. Nice work, good. You can play with the arms a little bit. Each time you're standing tall, remembering to drive knuckles down, pull shoulders away from ears. Maybe you get more into that dynamic stance. And each time you reach back, you're trying to hit the same spot behind you for that kickstand, or that balance spot. Maybe you want to float this leg. You can play with floating it. Maybe it's something you're going to work toward. Maybe floating it isn't an option today, but you're going to watch these videos and work towards it by the end of the summer. 2. And last 1. Bring your feet together, walk it out, and then start to swing the arms. Really get your chest rotating, rib cage rotating on the axis of the spine. And then you can be more still in the feet and just feel the rotation of the rib cage. Good. So we have that nice independent movement of the rib cage to the pelvis. Now let's go down to the feet and toe heel them wide. We're going to come into a straddle stance here. Right toes are going to be forward. Left toes can turn out just a little bit. Hinge at the hips. So pull the hips back, flat back, and then bend your right leg so that you're pulling your hips back behind your heel, as opposed to just sending your knee forward. We want to pull the hips back behind the heel, then lean over. All right. So once again, same theme. Most of the weight is in the heel. And then right here, I just want you to pulse a little bit. Maybe even lift and spread the toes so you can really feel that deep tissue in your glute. Make that connection. Then place the toes down on the ground. Then we're going to stand up tall. Lower, stand up tall. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press tall. Good. Each time you lower down, you're hinging at the waist. You're pulling your hips back behind the heel, and you're loading your heel using your glute. If that's all making sense to you, you can play around with your left arm and give me kind of like a biceps. Show me your guns. Show me your biceps. Squeeze. Notice my elbow is directly out from my shoulder, and my fingertips are touching my skin every time on the left hand. Right here, I want to make this touch. So I have a nice short lever because I'm going to give you the option of rotating. Lower down, rotate your trunk. If your hand isn't touching when you rotate your trunk, then you have this big lever that's spinning, and that can kind of hurt your shoulder. So bam, keep your hand right to your chest. Find this rotation. 3, stand up tall every time. 2, and final 1. Good. Now pivot, face the side of the room, just look over your shoulder, peel up the back of your heel, and notice how peeling up the heel sends your weight into your front foot. So load your front foot and then pull your knee into your chest like you're doing a crunch, and then reach that leg back behind you. Tap your toe, send your arms long, pull it up and do a crunch. Now really bring your ribs to your pelvis when you do that, and then extend arms and legs long, crunch, draw navel into spine, and reach it back. So reach and pull for 6, 5. If you want to hold on to a chair here and just crunch with one arm and one leg, that's fine. I've lost track. Maybe 3. Yep. And 2. Really get that fiber in the low belly to contract in. And 1. Reach back, put your heel down, and pivot back to me. Send your hips back. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So when the hips come back and your feet are wide, set yourself up for success. And then notice if this knee is really far forward and the heel is lifted. We don't want that. Heel down, hips back, and sit as much as you can. So the other common mistake is to come here and just do this, right? So just to bend at the waist. No, we want to lower your seat down to the ground. Okay, so here we are. And we're going to just work on our pulses. So toes lift, feeling that connection between the heel and the glute, finding those pulses. I have a lot of quad going on right now, but I'm trying to press it back, use my backside. Then once we got that nice and primed up, stand nice and tall. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press up long and tall. Squeeze your glutes, stand tall. Yeah, and then you'll notice just these little isometric holds, right? So just finding tension in the body. When you stand tall, if you make a fist and drive your knuckles down, you can hug your biceps to the bone, hug your triceps to the bone, draw your shoulders down, feel the lats turn on. Yeah, you're getting the benefit from that muscle engagement as well. Go ahead and start giving me a little, little dance move here, little precision, dragging your right hand across your chest, finding as much space as you can, pulling the elbow to the right side of the room or whatever side of the room the elbow is facing. And then notice, can you turn on your bicep? Can you feel it there? Can you feel the tricep? Let's begin our rotation. As long as your hand is touching your chest, making that a short lever, as opposed to having your hand flopping around and that momentum tugging on the shoulder. Go at a speed that makes sense for you. Maybe connect your breath with your movement. Let's go for 3 and 2 and 1. Come back to center. Now let's pivot. So I'm just going to spin and turn my toes to the opposite side of the room, and then peel up your heel to send weight into the front foot. Load that front foot. Use any kind of balance you need to. Maybe arms come up high. Maybe it's just one arm because you're in balance. Now pull your knee into your chest, and you're also doing a crunch. So you're bringing your ribs down to your pelvis, drawing your navel into your spine, and then arms reach back, toes reach back. You can touch right here, get your balance, crunch and pull it in. Inhale, reach, exhale, crunch, and reach, Now, as you're doing these crunches, if you want to get a little bit deeper into where we're going in this exercise, whatever foot is your plant foot, so it's the right foot for me. Notice if your glutes are drifting off to the side, or if you can pull them right behind the right heel. 2 and 1. Reach it back, pivot back to the center of the room. Now bring your heels in, toes are out. Inhale the arms up, bring your hands together at prayer. Now, I want you to pretend like your back is against a wall. So we're not going to hinge forward, not going to pull our hips back. I just want you to slide your back down the wall. The knees are going to bend out over the toes. So if you're rolling into the insides of your feet, plug the outsides of your feet down on the ground, pull the knees to the piggy toe. Now, feel the heels as you press up, inner thighs squeeze, stand tall and lower down and press it up. Each time you press up, squeeze the inner thighs. Sometimes when we're in this position, the sumo turnout position, you can make a better connection between the heels and the glutes working. So again, driving through the heels, working our back side. Connect your breath to your movement here. 3, inhale, lower, exhale, press for 2, inhale, lower, exhale, press for 1. Now listen, slide your back down the wall, and we're going to be stationary. So notice if you're hinging forward, pull the shoulders back over the hips, draw navel into spine, lift your right heel and lower. Try that a few times. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's try it with the left heel. 4, 3, 2. Rest whenever you need to, or if you're still with me, what about both heels? 4, 3, 2. Woo! Can you hold it here? On 1, heels are lifted, holding it here. Can you get a little bit lower? Heels go down, legs straighten out, toe, heel, your feet back to center, and then give me some hip circles. Actually, open up the feet a little bit, and then just start to move into some hip circles. So we started with that hip root when we went off to the side, but just swish around the hip root on the other side, and take the hips forward. And then take that in the opposite direction. All right, so hopefully your hips are feeling nice and juicy and lubricated from those circles. We're going to go back to that wide squat again. We're going to add a new element. So you have all the options of stepping wide that you had before being stationary, but I'm going to go wide, narrow, wide, narrow. When you do your narrow squat, try to zip everything up. That's a bit of a balance challenge. So the wider our base of support, the more stable we feel. The narrower our base of support, sometimes the less stable we can feel. Good. Now, one more option here. This stationary heel can lift. Each time you go wide, it lifts. Each time you go narrow, it lifts. All right, so just a few more of those if you want to add the heel lift. 3 and 2. Woo! And 1. Remember, you have options. Now zip it all up. We're going to lower down, stand up tall, both heels lift. Sit back, stand up tall, both heels lift. Sit, stand tall. Strong ankles, strong feet here as the heels lift. Think about your drishti or your gazing point, that non-moving point in front of you where your eyes land to help you find your balance. One more, and we're going to end with the heels lifted nice and tall, finding your drishti, and lower the heels. Separate the feet. We're going to go to the left. Now remember, you have lots of options to the left. We spent 7 weeks talking about your options. We already did a left movement. earlier today. So if these double squats aren't your jam, you have the power to change it, make it right for you. So the number one rule in exercise is do no harm. Do no harm to your own body. You're in charge. You have the autonomy to make your decisions. Now, if you want that standing leg heel to lift, working on that acceleration and deceleration, go ahead and find those elements. Press up and lower, wide and narrow. So you might notice your heart rate coming up a little bit. Mine is. Why? If it is, keep the heel out of it. You don't have to do it. It's an option, remember? Just keep it at home. 2, last one. Stay center with me. This time we're going to lower, zip it all in, press it up, lower, press it up and hold. Now, with the heels lifted, everything zipped together, can you keep the heels lifted, but sit the hips down? So you're going to play with that. Keep the heels lifted, stand tall. Hinge at the hips, sit down, heels lifted, press up nice and tall. Couple more of those, just play with it. And final one. And whoo, I had to go fast. Press up tall, good. Work it out, walk it out, swing your arms a little bit. And then, you know what I love to do after this? I love to step, touch. So we haven't really had a lot of time these last 8 weeks to show off our moves. So go ahead and show me your moves. Step and touch. Get your arms moving. Wiggle it just a little bit. Let it go. Good. Right on. Okay, we have one more series that we're going to do. So let's bring ourselves into our squat position, slightly wide. Oh, I'm sorry. No. This is what we're going to do. I changed my mind. We're going to sit down into our squat, bring our right leg lifted, and then point and touch the ground in front of us. Lift it and touch right in the center. Point to the side, lift and touch. Reach back behind, touch to the middle. Now there's that curtsy position and touch. Let's try that one more time now that you know where we're going. Point, stand tall. Sit back and point. Stand tall. Sit back and point. Stand tall. Reach behind and point. Stand tall. So I added that little stand up in there at the end. We'll try it on the other side. Sit back and give me your chair squat. Shift the weight onto one leg. Peel up. Sitting down, we're just going to point, tap. We're staying seated the whole time. Point, tap. Reach behind, tap. And curtsy, tap. We're going to do it one more time, but we're going to stand tall in between each tap. So point, stand tall, sit and reach, stand tall, sit back, stand tall, curtsy, and stand tall. Good job. Work it out. Boy, we have a little bit more time than I thought we were going to have today. Let's do one more thing. Take your feet about hips or shoulders distance apart, hands on the thighs. I just want you to sit back and look over your right shoulder and really, really look like somebody's coming in the door, and then stand tall and look forward. Sit back and turn your shoulder, turn your eye gaze, stand tall. Last time, turn your eye gaze, sit back, stand tall. Sit again, this time reach both arms down by your sides, sit tall. Nothing changes in the lower body. Reach back, stand tall, reach back, stand tall. Now let's add a little twist. Reach back, grab your box, twist and rotate and share your box. Grab your box and rotate. This, when I say grab your box, I mean this imaginary package sitting at the back of your heels. Last one, 2, rotate and send it off. And 1, come back to center, wiggle out your hips. We'll try that on the other side. So what we're doing with this exercise is we're separating the upper half of the body from the lower. So first, we just start by sitting back in a squat and then finding rotation just in the neck, right? So looking back behind the shoulders, who's coming in the house? Nothing is happening. Look at the screen for a second. When I look back, I don't have to use my knees to look back, right? I just use my neck to look back. So practice that 3 times. Squat, look back, stand tall. Look over your shoulder, stand tall. Now we're going to get more of the thoracic spine. So I'm going to rotate and pick up this imaginary gift and then stand up tall and hold it. Again, my lower body, my hips, they're still sending back. The glutes are going back behind my heels. The knees are still tracking forward. They're not caving in to the midline as we twist, right? And then we're going to twist in the other direction, right? So this is our send off, right? This is good juju, good energy, well wishes to all of you who have joined me in the last 8 weeks. This is my wish and my send off and my hope for you to continue to use these movements and these cues to get strong and plug in these functional movements into your daily life. Last one, come back to center. I'm gonna do a little cool down with the chair here. And for this cool down, I just want you to bring your chin down into your chest. Let your arms hang heavy. Start to roll. Feel your pelvis move forward. And then place your elbows on the chair so your head's still pretty even with your heart. Okay? And then bend your knees a little bit here and let your head hang heavy. Shake your head, yes. Now, if you don't want to use the chair and you're comfortable with ragdoll pose in yoga, you can go there totally. But just be aware of your head being below your heart. And then with the knees bent, I just want you to straighten out your right leg, straight as you can straighten it out. Bend the knees back a little bit and straighten out left leg. And if you don't like being on your forearms and you want to get onto your hands, that's fine. Straighten out right leg. If you're on the floor, straighten out left leg. Now, if you're on the floor, walk your fingertips over to one side. If you're on the chair, just turn your feet away so that the hands are on one side of the body and the toes are away. Get that little side body stretch there. If your hands are on the floor, walk your fingertips back to your feet. If you're on the chair, just turn your toes back to the chair and then turn your toes the other direction. Keep breathing, my friends. Good work. And then if you're on the chair, turn your toes back to the chair. And on the ground, let everything hang heavy and then start to stack your spine. So work right above the hips, taking each vertebra of the spine, stacking one on top of the other. Let the head hang heavy, fingertips, shoulders, arms hang heavy until you peel up and stack it up into your tall position. Bring your arms up overhead. Let's give you the side view of this. And then swish them down to your side as you get a little squat, stand up tall. Inhale, exhale, swish. Inhale it up. So now you are using a little bit of momentum, right? So swish your hands back, swing them up. Exhale them back, swing them up. Exhale them back. Final time, swing them up and bring your arms down to the sides. What a pleasure and an honor it has been this last 8 weeks. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the future again soon.